Okay, so I understand that there's a lot of forms of art out there, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I am in no way an artist. Even though I'm called a content creator, and the word create is, well, many things in this world, one thing I will say is that I cannot create art. And today's story is basically how I ended up doing it with my art teacher. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story is something a little insane. Now, I think you guys know, I've basically had my fair history with doing it with teachers, and I won't lie, I love my teachers. Like, I love them so much to the point where I end up doing the Devil's Tango with them. But honestly, today's story is basically of how I ended up doing my art teacher, and honestly, it all starts off back when I was in grade 11. You see, in grade 11, I ended up taking an art course because I needed to get some extra credits to make sure I had enough for graduation. And I think we all know, if you guys are in high school, that getting credits for high school to graduate is honestly something that sucks. But basically, I remember back when I was in high school, I was able to take an art class, and this art class had a really cool teacher that for some reason everyone liked. Now me, I didn't really care about art, but honestly, knowing that there was an easygoing teacher in that class, obviously I'm gonna go take it. I think for many of us that go to high school, I think we all know that if there was like a better teacher to go to, we're gonna go to that teacher, no matter the subject. So I remember my first day of art class, I ended up going in there. When I did, I saw the art teacher. She was actually an attractive blonde girl that was kind of just, how do I put this? Very spontaneous. Like, you know those girls that are really over dramatic about everything, even though it means the littlest to nothing? That was basically her. Like, no joke, one thing I found really annoying about her as well is that for some reason, when she was like on topic about something, like for example, how to stroke your brush and stuff like that, she would keep going on and on and on as if the brush was like the next Stephen Hawking. And that guy was on a wheelchair. Like, I don't know, man. I really did not care enough to listen to this teacher. And I remember basically I ended up just doing what I had to do and just getting my credits and leaving. Because don't get me wrong, everyone loved this teacher because she was outgoing, but at the same time, she was basically unbearable to listen to. Anyways, as the semester went on, I remember we ended up getting a new unit called pottery. Now, pottery, I think we all know what it is, and we all seen it in the movies where basically it's like you're shaping these cool bowls and cups and vases and basically make it out of like clay. And I remember me, I really did not like it because one thing I really care about is having clean hands. Like, I'm not a germaphobe or a freak in any sense, but I like having clean hands, okay? And if you want me to grab something that literally looks like something that comes out of me, it's pretty awkward. But anyways, I remember I sat down and basically the teacher was going through pottery and stuff, and I remember I was like, okay, whatever. And I basically ended up sitting down, spinning that wheel, and basically getting my pottery on, as some artists would say. I remember as I was making pottery though, making just a basic bowl that I could probably just use for my Nisquit cereal. I remember the teacher was walking around the classroom helping students to make sure they don't mess up, because some students really want to impress this teacher and make some like ginormous vase that they're probably never going to use. Like, no joke, like some of them were so ugly that I don't even think my grandma would use. Anyways, going on though, I remember she ended up coming up to me, and when she saw I was making a simple bowl, for some reason she loved it. I remember she ended up coming up behind me and saying, oh, like, what are you making that bowl for? My cereal, is what I told her. And she ended up laughing, and funny enough, she said that I should like fix the curve on it more so when the milk goes in, it's easier. And as she was like showing me, I remember I kept messing it up and didn't understand what she meant. So as a teacher, she did what she was supposed to do, help me out. But the way she helped me out was, well, I don't even think it was legal. She basically came up behind me and spread her legs and put her like legs around my back, kind of to the point where she was kind of like over me, like you know the ones that where you see in like those like movies where it's like romantic and stuff and like they're doing pottery together. She kind of did that to me, and she kind of like started like putting her hands on my hands, and like basically we ended up having this romantic scene. I remember two kids in the class actually ended up recording that moment, and it was actually super awkward, and I'm just sitting there kind of just thinking like, okay, this is getting really weird. But then I remember as I looked over my shoulder, I remember my like jawline basically ended up hitting her, well, cherries, and that's when it happened. When I got the connection of my face hitting cherries, honestly, I was thinking of one of two things. One, I was thinking about a motorboat, and no, I don't mean the literal motorboat. And the other thing I was thinking about was, well, how bricked I got. For some reason, I got really attracted to the teacher ever since that day, and I got seriously bricked every time I thought about the art teacher. It's like she casted a spell on me. Well, not really on me, but on my eggplant. I remember ever since that day, I was actually pretty excited to go to art class, because the more I looked at her, the more bricked I got. And well, honestly, I'll tell you one thing, I did a lot of trips to the school bathroom. Yes, I'm embarrassed to say that, but honestly, you guys can't blame me. But anyways, I remember one time there was a moment in class where basically we were doing just normal painting. I remember this was like 4 months after the whole pottery class thing, and basically we were just, you know, doing normal, like I believe it was like wet painting. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't really care about art, but basically we were doing this like wet paint art thingy. And basically, I remember one time my art teacher came up to me and told me that I was doing it all wrong. She got actually like pretty irritated at me or upset with me, but at the same time, she ended up basically getting me a new canvas and started helping me out with it. And one thing I realized is that like I got really bricked up when she came near me. And basically my teacher, she looked at me and then she looked down and she realized that I was bricked. Like no joke, she saw my hard on eggplant and she looks at me and looks in my eyes and says, "Okay, Bubba, can we have a conversation, please?" Sure, is what I told her. And then she ended up saying, "But we're going to like talk after class, okay? I just want to have a discussion about something." "Oh yeah, that's totally cool with me," is what I ended up saying afterwards. I remember that moment, I thought I was gonna get in trouble or something about like, you know, formal student teacher etiquette or something. But honestly, I remember after class, I ended up just staying in my seat as all the kids were leaving and the teacher ended up walking up to me. She said to me, "Okay, Bubba, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I know you're attracted to me." "Yeah," is what I said. And then from that moment, I remember she came up really close to me and said, "Well, you're lucky you're attractive. You're graduating next year, aren't you?" "Wait, what?" is what I said. And then from there, I remember she ended up grabbing the paintbrush that I was actually using and ended up putting it on her tongue. She made it like, you know, very spicy, I would say, towards me. And one thing led to another. We ended up going into this dark room that was basically a storage closet for the art class to store their art to dry off. And I'll tell you one thing, things got really wet in there. And I don't mean the wet paintings, if you know what I'm saying. That was a really bad one. But anyway, sorry. Going on though, I remember me and her, we ended up doing the devil's tango in there. And we were in there for a good 30 minutes. But I remember, since it was like only midway through the day of school, another group of classmates ended up going into the classroom as well. And me and her, we didn't really realize that because honestly, time just got out of our hands. And one thing led to another. When we were finished, we basically came out of the closet. And as I was zipping up my pants and as she was putting on her top and we exited the closet, there was a whole batch of students just looking at me thinking, what in the world did this kid do? Yeah, let's say the whole class ended up catching me doing it with my art teacher, but honestly, I don't regret it. One thing I will say is that I learned a lot about biology. I guess you could say I learned 2 classes at one. Anyways, guys, that is basically it for today's story. Make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, follow me right now on Kick because I'm probably streaming on there, telling more crazy stories just like this one. Anyways, like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.